bars on the windows and bars on the doors. Today I'm in Cali, Colombia in a super efficient micro apartment I got off Airbnb for $14. It's actually a very stylish place. It's well laid out. I'm pretty happy with it. So Cali, Colombia is on the list of the top 50 most dangerous cities in the world. Woo! Number 31 on the list. But it's a little bit of a misleading list. It only counts homicides per capita. It excludes places that are involved in a war like Syria or Afghanistan or Iraq. And it's kind of the wrong question. The right question is not so much how dangerous is the city, but how dangerous is the city for me or for other tourists. Because there's places that are dangerous for tourists. They're dangerous for a out-of-towner looking out of place walking around. There's other places that are dangerous for the locals. It's gang-on-gang violence and local people that get wrapped into it. And then there's places that fall somewhere in between, and I strongly suspect that Cali falls somewhere in between those two. But beyond that, looking deeper into those statistics for the 50 top most dangerous cities in the world, A, Cali's improved greatly. It used to be number 4 on that list. B, there's some U.S. cities on that list. Detroit, New Orleans, Baltimore, St. Louis. St. Louis is number 15. It's twice as high on the list as Cali. So, should you visit Cali? Is Cali safe? Is Cali safe for you and me? These are the questions that I have. We're going to check out the city and see if we can find out. Here we go. So for all the time that I've been traveling the world, and specifically traveling South America, I've kind of avoided coming to Cali. And I've avoided it for a couple silly reasons. One, I was a little worried about safety in the city, and the other is the climate. I'm not a huge fan of hot, humid places, and that's what I expected from Cali. And it's warm, it's a little humid, but there's a nice breeze. It's actually it's a lot fresher than I was expecting. I'm comfortable here. My Airbnb doesn't even have air conditioning, just a fan, and it doesn't bother me at all. It's quite nice. Now, might not always be like that, but at least today it is. So I started off my exploration of Cali nice and safe in the tourist district of San Antonio. Now I am exploring the park. There's a large city park right next to San Antonio. You can go check it out, see how it is. Really awesome views of the city from up here in San Antonio Park. Kept encountering these ants in the park that they really seem to like brightly colored flowers. So after a few hours of walking around in the park, the impression I had was that it's a perfectly safe place to hang out, at least in the daytime. As the sun set, I decided to leave the tourist area and go explore a more working class neighborhood nearby, just to get a better feel of just normal everyday life in the city and the levels of safety.
see if I could walk around without getting bothered by anyone. Really, the worst that I encountered walking around in this neighborhood was places where there just wasn't infrastructure for pedestrians and it was dangerous to walk. Though there were a few people that were using hard drugs out in the open, some people smoking a crack pipe. I stopped into a neighborhood bar for a drink and some questionable food. And then I made my way back to my Airbnb for the night. There are many really awesome restaurants in this area, and the next afternoon, I had an amazing brunch.
And now for something different. I'm gonna take a break from exploring the city and get a tattoo. All right, I'm at Cicuta Tattoo. It's right across the street from Parque San Antonio in Cali, in the San Antonio neighborhood. And I'm about to get my first tattoo. That's right, I've never had a tattoo before. I can't explain why I haven't done this before, but today's the day. Gonna do it. I'm a little surprised. At least on this part of my arm, the tattoo process is far less painful than I expected. It's really doesn't hurt at all.
So my skin's still healing and peeling, but here's how the tattoo turned out.
All right, so it's a couple days later, and I am back in Quito, Ecuador. So getting that tattoo, the first 2 or 3 hours didn't really hurt too bad, but after that, yeah, my arm turned to hamburger meat, and after 5 hours, once we finished up that tattoo, I was wiped out. So I just went home and went to sleep. And in the morning, I had to wake up and I had to get to the airport and get on a plane. I flew from Cali to Esmeraldas, transferred flights, and I flew to Quito. That was the cheap flight out of Cali at the moment. And now that I'm back, hang on a second, busy little moment on the street here. All right, so now that I'm back, there's a few things I want to talk about. So first thing, my apologies. I need a little more time in Cali to make a really good Cali video. Sorry to bring you this far into it and tell you that, but that's the truth. To really get a good sense of the city and where is safe and where is not, I gotta go back, which is also a great thing because I gotta go back to do a couple more bands on that tattoo. And I didn't do really any of the tourist things other than walk around San Antonio and the park there. I never, went to any of the salsa classes or out to the clubs or any of that stuff that tourists typically do when they go to Cali. But I do that a lot. I kind of don't do the tourist stuff. I just do the everyday walking around the street sort of stuff. So you might not be surprised. Oh, hey, cool. I'm going to show you this. So all of that said, I did get a sense that Cali's the kind of city where you've got certain neighborhoods that really, they're safe. You're not going to have any troubles walking around unless you're being really stupid, flashing money and just asking for trouble. But it's got other neighborhoods that truly are dangerous. And what I kind of noticed checking the city out is that there wasn't a big transition between the two. You could cross the street and go from a great neighborhood to a terrible neighborhood. So you really do have to do a little research on the city to know how to stay within the safe zones. Also, something my taxi driver on one of my trips said to me, don't ever put your bags in the trunk in a taxi in Cali. A little different from the customs in Ecuador where you got a bunch of bags, of course you always stick them in the trunk, and they lock the trunk. Also, it's the kind of city where you might be driving through some bad neighborhoods, so yeah, you lock your doors, you roll up the windows when you're in a taxi in Cali. But in spite of all of that, I really love that city. I don't know that I'd want to live there, but it was a great place to visit. And if I liked a little bit hotter climate, yeah, and it might be on my list of good expat destinations. As it is, it's a great city to visit. It's a fun place. They've got great food. They had some of the best empanadas that I've had in my life. The empanadas themselves were okay, but it was the sauces. I walked in this one little place, and I'll try to put a link to its Google Maps address. Little empanada place and they had like 8 different sauces, and some of them were the best ají, the best salsas I've had anywhere. So yeah, Cali is definitely worth a visit. It's definitely worth checking out, but it's a place where you need to do a little research in order to stay safe. And I guess that's all I got for this Cali video. Like I said, I'm gonna make another. I'll be back there because I like the city and because I want to get more work done on my tattoo from the same shop. Also, I'm going to drop a link down below for that tattoo shop because they were cool people. Much better price than I got quoted by some other tattoo shops, and they did good work. Definitely check out Andy at, how do you say it, Sakuta Tattoo. Link below. As always, none of these recommendations are paid. I don't take money to recommend businesses. I just recommend spots that I find that treat me right, so that other travelers can experience the same.